Hello again, everyone. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I have no idea what's going on. So anyway, my fiance will look at it tonight and try and get the internet working again. Maybe we can do it live tomorrow, but I am going to just record it anyway, just in case. So I'm just going to go over everything that we chatted about first, so everybody who wasn't there live knows what's up. So first things first is introduce yourselves in the comments, since we won't have the comments from the live. So yeah, say hi, say who you are again, even if you did it the first time, especially for everyone who wasn't able to attend for the first little bit. And yeah, your name, where you're watching from, and I don't know, maybe your favorite flower too. As we went over, the rose courses are coming out this week, so they're going to come out this Thursday. It's going to be Hellebore, David Austin Rose, and Classic Rose. I hope you guys will, purchase some of those, because I put so much hard work into all of those courses. They're amazing, trust me. And also I'm going to have a bundle for you to buy if you want to buy all three, as like a holiday present for yourself. There's going to be a really good price on that. Gum paste troubleshooting. A lot of people have been asking me what to use for their gum paste. Obviously, I recommend my own recipe if it works for you. I know sometimes it just doesn't work for some people. And also, if you're using Wilton CMC, do reduce that by at least half to start with, because I know it's very, very strong. I don't want your gum paste turning out like a rock. It's extremely annoying. So that's that on Wilton. And then if you're making an all CMC recipe, if you're not using Wilton, you can use 2.75 to 3 teaspoons CMC total for the recipe. If you are using Wilton, I don't know, start with 1.5 and let me know how it goes. And I think that's everything. I'm going to flip you guys around so you can see my hands, and it's actually going to work this time, which is fabulous. Perfect. So you can see me now. Yay! We went over color theory. So different ways to get the same color. The first way, well, first of all, let me show you the colors that we're using. So Dusky Pink and Caramel Ivory. I have those linked in the tools and materials section if you can't see this properly, but those are the two colors that I really like using, and we're basically making a base color of kind of like a brownish pink or like a brownish red, similar to this color here. This is probably just without as much red. So if you want to get the same color but you don't have these two specific colors, what I'm going to recommend is red violet. So basically you can mix violet and red, add yellow, and you're going to get this color for caramel. Then just add a little bit more red and you're going to get to the exact same color as I just created. Second option, orange with black. You can see that brings you almost to the same color, and then just add a touch of red. And then final option is going to be red, yellow, green with red. That's going to take you to that same caramel color. And then with this caramel color, add a touch of red, which is in place for the pink, and that should bring you to the same color. So those are your options for gel pastes. Next, I just want to quickly go over the different terms that we're going to be using. So here we are. First term to know is hue, and a hue is any color. So it doesn't matter what you're talking about. You can just use the word hue in place of color if you want. Next word we're going to go over is tint, and tint, you can see on this color wheel in particular, all the tints are just right around the edge here, and that is any hue mixed with white. Next is tone, and that means any hue mixed with gray. So you can see all of those colors in the middle here. And finally, the last term we're going over is shade, and that is black mixed with any hue. So that is all the bottom colors here. So those are the terms that we need to know in color theory. And lastly, complementary colors. So what do they do? if we are adding complementary colors to one another, we are going to make some color, some sort of brown. And we can use this to our advantage when we are mixing a color and we want to mute it down. So let's say we are making something violet. The complementary color to violet is yellow, and you can see we've got like a brownish color here. Same thing, let's say we're making something red. If we want to, oh, sorry, this one doesn't have that. If we're making something, yes, red, we add a bit of green, and that's going to get you that brown color there. So a little bit more like a purpley brown color. But use this to your advantage. If you get a color out of the bottle, say this green, and you're like, wow, this is way too bright, I need to mute it down so it looks a bit more realistic, just add its complementary color, which is going to be red, and that will mute it down. Alrighty, now let's get to cutting our wires and preparing them. I think this recording is going to work a lot better now. So we've got our 22 gauge wires. I've cut those into thirds with our needle nose pliers, and I have bent the wire with a small hook on the end, just like that. And with our open flowers, what we want to do is make a large hook on the end. So grab those, and we're making a nice wide hook. So I'm going to go maybe 1 centimeter down and just hook those like that. So we got a nice wide area here, which we're going to use to add thread. So let's start with our closed ones. We're just using white gum paste here. Put some shortening on your hands and give that a knead. Now, the size we're going to go for is just slightly smaller than our smallest cutter that I listed out on the tools and materials page. So let's use that as a reference. And we're making a slightly wider teardrop shape than we would for a classic spray rose. So I roll that into a ball, and then I'm going to taper it on one end and just leave it nice and fat at the bottom, kind of like short and fat. And I think that looks good. It's maybe a tiny bit big, but it will work totally fine. So just grab some water or gum glue, dip the end of your wire into that, wipe off the excess on the back of your hand, and insert that into the base. And just secure it around. Now let's just do a couple more so I can show you the shape again. So this one I made slightly smaller, which is fine. It's fine if we have a few different sizes too. That will also work. Now we just secure that around the base. And one more. And check again. Perfect. Great. So we've got these 3 slightly different sizes, and that's totally fine, as long as they're all fitting within, like, between the middle part of our cutter and before the edge. That will work great. Let these dry overnight. And before I forget, one thing we did do in the live video that did not survive was we made our gum paste color. So what we did was kneaded together some of this dusky pink and about an equal amount of caramel ivory. So maybe just a tiny bit less of this, but adjust it as you'd like. We kneaded that into this color here. And as I mentioned in the color theory chat we had, there's many different ways you can arrive at this color. It doesn't just have to be caramel ivory and dusky pink. I then kneaded a small amount of this into my main amount of gum paste, which is just a handful, like maybe a pea-sized amount in total, but add half of that and then just adjust as you go because you don't want to add too much and then you have to continually add more and more white. So that is the color we ended up with. It is just an off-white color, and remember this is going to dry slightly lighter than it currently is. And you can see just how subtle that color is, but it's really going to add a lot of depth. As you can see in this flower, just in all of the shadowy areas, you get kind of that creamy color, and that's exactly what you'll get when you start with like just an off-white gum paste. Okay, now that we covered that, back to our centers, and we are going to use our thread. Just got some golden yellow thread here. Use whatever color you've got that's like yellowish. And what we do is wrap this around our index and middle finger 30 times. So this is going to make like the stamen area. All right, so that's what 30 looks like. Remove that. And let me grab some scissors. All right. Snip that off. And then what we're going to do is fold this into a figure 8. So I just twisted it and then fold it on itself, just onto your finger or something. Next, take one of your hooks and put that through and hold that in place so it doesn't unravel. Then grab one of your other hooks and also slide that through. So we've got 2 stamens here. Hold it securely and then we can close that up. Great. So now we've got 2 secured stamens. What I want to do before I cut this is grab some tape, just whatever you've got. I'm just using some light green tape here. And just tear off a piece because we're not going to need much. And just set that right above where the threads start. Wrap it around like this. And just tightly wrap it. And repeat on the other side. and tear that off. So now it's nice and secure. It's not going to go anywhere. You can snip that in half. And we've got a nice little bundle of stamens here. So I'm going to show you what the flower looks like. So it's just kind of peeking out there, and I love these on cakes. Great, so just gonna trim, if there's any like loose threads anywhere, just trim that off. And then if you want to go an extra step further, just to make it a little less flat on top, you can put in a few extra little snips to kind of make it a little shaggier looking. All right, our final step here for our centers is going to be adding our cornmeal. So this is like the pollen. And I have some confectioner's glaze. So brush that right on the top. Make sure it's really nice and saturated on top, because you can't really go back and add any more after you've dipped it into the cornmeal. And dip that right in, smush it around a little, knock off any excess, and there you go. So I did add a tiny bit of yellow dust to this cornmeal just to give it a little bit more of a bright yellow color. You can also add a touch of orange to that too if you wanted. So there is our first center that is for an open flower. And let's do the other one too. All right, and just dip that into the cornmeal. So it looks like really nice and polleny there. Perfect for our open flowers. And thank you again for watching all the way through day number 1. Tomorrow I am going to pre-record the videos, and then we're going to see if I can go live maybe for a little bit of it. We'll see what happens with the technology. Can't promise anything. So write your questions in the Facebook group or in the YouTube video, either or. I'm gonna check them all out tonight and get you as many answers as I can. And I'm sure your fellow students can help you out as well. Let me see if there's anything else. I don't think so. Yeah, just post on the Facebook group once you've completed this lesson. Post on Instagram if you do. Tag me at Finespun Cakes with 2 S's. And then I'm going to see you tomorrow for day 2. So day 2, we are basically doing all of our petals. So make sure you have your gum paste ready at that point. Make sure you have it colored from today, and make sure all of your centers are dried completely and your stamens are made as well. That's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you tomorrow.